Shalom Yasharallah, this is your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And salutation, much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I'm going to jump to this here article real quick. Pretty long article, but hey, it's looking at the times that we're in right now where the son of perdition is being revealed, man, being called out on all sides, man. It says China meets American hegemony head on. All right. It says the Chinese Foreign Ministry has published an essay titled U.S. Hegemony and Its Perils, a scathing attack on the United States and its desire to effectively rule the world. It's funny how more and more of these nations are now calling America out, all right, or calling them out for, you know, the things that they're doing, all right. In fact, let me jump into a precept real quick that goes into that. Because this is the point in the time where we're at anyway, man. All right, where I could have read that. But let me go back. And this is 2 Thessalonians 2:3. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." All right, so that man of sin is now being revealed. Let me read this while I'm here too. Verse 8. It says, "And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." Now, dealing with the Lord, consuming it with the spirit of his mouth, right? You know, the prophets go out there and they expose Esau, you know, from the very beginning, right? But it's spread from, you know, how you could say from an internal thing, you know, from the prophets to the prophets, you know, teaching the other prophets about what's going on as they waking up, right? To a more of a domestic thing, right? You hear the prophets on the highways and the byways, you know, the chief concord places, letting everybody know about Esau and how Esau gets down. Then it went to the international scale, man, where you have these international leaders, these other world leaders calling Esau out for the things that he's doing. So, hey, it made it all the way up the food chain, man. All right. Now let me go from there to, where's that? Isaiah 14 and 16. All right. Isaiah 14 and 16. It says, "They that see thee," all right, and speaking to the Chinese article that this article that we're reading, all right, it says, "They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms?" All right, let me see. Let me read that in NLT. And let me finish this off in the KJV. "That made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners." All right, now going into the KJV or the NLT, "Everyone there will stare at you and ask, Can this be the one who shook the earth and made the kingdoms of the world tremble? Is this the one who destroyed the world and made it into a wasteland? Is this the king who demolished the world's greatest cities and had no mercy on his prisoners?" All right, and you know, the Israelites are his prisoners, and look at how they still treat us to the same day. But look at how he wound up demolishing who demolished the world's greatest cities, man. All right, you know, you have a lot of these different, old ancient places, you know, like, you know, again, you can find out who the origins of ISIS is and where they come out of. And, you know, man, I did a video, and this was a long time ago, showing forth their headquarters, which was in Colorado. It's what you call an NGO, non-governmental organization, who created something, you know, which, not getting too far into it, but for their own proxy and their own, you know, because with the way their laws is, the whole earth is a battlefield. Wherever there's terrorists, they can just go pull up on them, and that would give them the right to just roll up into a sovereign nation, i.e. Syria, right? But, you know, not going too far into that, but look at, you know, how they use them over in Syria to destroy some old ancient, you know, temples and things that's been there for thousands of years. You see what I'm saying? And look at what Esau does. Look at what they did to the pyramids and the Sphinx and the Sphinx and everything else like that, man. Look at what they done to all of these, you know, cities and things that Jake used to live in here in America, man, flooding them out and everything else like that, man. So, hey, you know, this is what he wound up doing, not to mention the whole Middle East. He done bombed that shit to hell and back, right? But going back to the point, you know, they asking, is this the man? All right, they're looking at him like, is this the one that's doing all these things to the earth, man? All right, so let's go and read more. Let's read this here article, all right, because this is what's being asked. It says the Chinese Foreign Ministry has published an essay titled U.S. Hegemony and Its Perils, a scathing attack on the United States and its desire to effectively rule the world. All right. And that's what Esau was going to have, a dominion over the earth, right? The essay was widely shared throughout Chinese state media outlets and was probably the harshest thing they've ever published, at least as far as Washington is concerned. It coincides with Russian President Vladimir Putin's recent address and attacks the U.S. across the broad spectrum of topics outlined in Washington's multi-pronged effort to achieve and maintain exclusive dominance over the entire planet. And this is what Esau, well, in reality, this is his blessing, Genesis 27 and around verse 39, you can start there, right? But then also Job 9 and 24, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. All right, what is that? Revelation 6 and I believe verse 4, and also verse 8, going into, that power was given unto him. All right. Let me see where we were at. All right, Washington's multi-pronged effort to achieve and maintain exclusive dominance over the entire planet. This includes military actions such as Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as interference with international political affairs of countries in the form of coup and revolutions. So let's go and get into that. Same chapter, I believe that where we're at right here. Nah, I think I might have changed. Nope, same chapter, right? Going into these coup. So coup is short for a coup d'etat, right? And a coup d'etat is basically an overthrowing of a government, right? And so another term that they use, so you could say they back in the olden days they would say you deposed the king. All right, you overthrew a government, right? You had a coup d'etat or a coup, right? Nowadays they don't even use those terms no more. You very rarely hear, that's a word that they use on the other side of the planet. I would say the Western countries, minus America, Europe and all that, they say, coup d'etat and things like that. But in America they use the term regime change, right? So this is Isaiah 14 and 9. It says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. So, hey, you've uprooted all the kings up off their thrones, man. All right, and your regime change, overthrowing governments and things like that. So this is one of their specialties that they wound up doing. All right. Getting back to this here article. All right, it says this includes military action such as in Iraq, Afghanistan, as well as interference in international political affairs of countries in the form of coups and revolutions. And, you had the color revolutions, the Maidan coup. You had the Arab Springs. All right, you had all these different where you just went and overthrew all these damn governments, man. Hell, from the Arab Springs, all right, and the color revolutions, man. You go look at the whole Middle East, man. Overthrew Saddam Hussein, Muammar Gaddafi, Taliban, and then they reinstated the Taliban in charge over there. You know what I'm saying? So all these different governments was overthrown. Now they tried to overthrow Syria, was trying to overthrow Nicolas Maduro and set up Juan Guaido. All right, you see, this is America's policy, man. All right, the essay discussed the Arab Springs. Just was mentioning that the Arab Springs, U.S. interference in Latin America, including the CIA coup in Chile, and attempts to undermine the government of Cuba and Venezuela, and the number of color revolutions in the former Soviet states such as Ukraine, Georgia, Kyrgyzstan, and it went on to condemn how Washington weaponizes the subject of democracy and forces countries to take sides, branded the U.S. a country characterized by violence and expansion that crushes its opponents and sanctions and economic coercion, and claims the U.S. dollar of being the main source of instability and uncertainty in the world's economy. All right, now, hey, to break that down, matter of fact, I'm going to read this first, and we're going to read that one more time, all right, because, hey, the Lord is cold, man. All right, this is why you Edomites, that's why, they don't go there, oh, the Edomites is the so-called white man. Nah, the Most High is way more colder than that, man. He going to describe every step your ass is going to take, every move you going to make, man. He going to describe everything about you. He going to do everything to a T without calling your name, man. All right, it's like, let's say, for instance, and I don't know all the specs on this, but let's just say, for instance, I'm trying to describe Michael Jackson, right, without calling out the name Michael Jackson. And I'd be like, look, he going to be born as a so-called black man. He going to change his appearance to become look like a so-called white man. He gonna have a high pitched voice. He gonna be singing and dancing. He gonna be the most sell the most albums ever. He's gonna be the biggest star ever. The damn near the most famous person under the Yahweh Shah in the whole world ever. You know what I'm saying? He gonna do this little move where he gonna be like looking like he's sliding, walking backwards. You know what I'm saying? He gonna just be doing all kind of shit, right? And then you like, you know what I'm saying? So you could be like, oh, well, this was such and such, or this was such and such. Like the only person that fit that their description, you know what I'm saying, would be Michael Jackson. Like the only person that this all these things happened to did a Pepsi commercial and then his hair got caught on fire and everything else. Like the nigga used to have this little shiny glove and shit. You know what I'm saying? Saying songs like "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough," "Smooth Criminal," "Jam," "Beat It," "Billie Jean," saying songs like that. Who the fuck ever, you know, like what description? Who does that describe? You know, you didn't describe Michael Jackson to a T without calling out the name Michael Jackson. He was in a group, you know, with his brothers as a little young kid. He's been famous since he was a little boy, right? You didn't describe this person all the way down to like, yo, there's no wiggle room, right? Like, there's no way. We all know who we talking about at this point in time. You don't have to say his name, but we all know who we talking about, right? So this is, you know, what the Lord did, you know, not just with Esau, but with Jake and everybody else, man. All right, then prophesied about what they will be doing. So this is Esau all the way to a T, man. You can't escape this, right? I forgot what I was grabbing. Oh, yeah. Isaiah 14:4. Well, let's get the point. Verse 6, right? Isaiah 14:6. It says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. All right. It says in NLT, you struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip and unleashed tyranny, right? So it says you struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip and unleashing tyranny. So let's go from there back to the article, right? And what does it say? It says, well, let me just start back up at the top. It says, now, let me just start here. It says, it went on to condemn how Washington weaponizes the subject of democracy, that Babylonian juice, and forces countries to take sides, branding the U.S. a country characterized by violence, all right, that continual stroke, and expansion, all right, he that neither keepeth at home, all right, and crushes his opponents with sanctions and economic coercion, all right, and gathers unto him all people, man, to overthrow their governments and reign over top of them, right? It says that crushes its opponents with sanctions and economic coercion, ruling over them with tyranny, that continual stroke, and claimed the U.S. dollar of being the main source of instability and uncertainty in the world economy. All right, so hey, man, look at this dude's face. The nations have drinking of her juice, therefore the nations are mad. All right, they're looking at this nigga like, bruh, what the hell? What did we do? How did we get inside of this situation, man? All right, it says never has Chinese foreign ministry launched such a blistering attack on the U.S. For many years, despite Washington's turn to hostilities towards Beijing, China has been overwhelmingly restrained when it comes to the U.S. For a long time, it's held the belief that America can be engaged with and somehow the country can be brought to reason that the U.S.-China bilateral relationship can be improved and stabilized. It once held the belief that after the departure of Donald Trump's administration, things could be returned to normal under Joe Biden. And the reality of these things is the fact that really, when it comes to these big dog nations, right, America really didn't have no pull with them. So, like, you know, you would have, like, let's say, for instance, China or Saudi Arabia. You know, to the masses, you know, they kind of got in trouble with Saudi Arabia like this. But to the masses, you know, these countries would allow them to talk on TV reckless to them, but when they really only talking to America, you know what I'm saying? So, like, for instance, they would talk shit about, the Saudis and this and that. We don't give a fuck about them. We'll do this and we'll do that. That's when they're addressing the American population, man, to make America feel like America's, yeah, they strong and whatever America say, everybody else bow down to. Same with China. But see, in reality, America knows that, bro, we can't shoot ourselves in the foot with Saudi Arabia, because if we fuck that up, that's, you know, our number one plug. Let them go like what they doing now, trying to switch sides into the BRICS nations. That's going to put America out of the oil game, which is going to fuck up that petrodollar, which is going to drop America out of that head position on the planet Earth, using that American dollar as leverage on these other nations, man. All right. Well, America can sit there and talk shit to China. China ain't really worried about that, because behind closed doors, they still sleeping in the same bed. All right. Because all the manufacturing and the production that China does, guess what? In order to feed their population, they have to sell all of that shit, man. America don't produce anything of that sort. And what are they? What kind of nation is America? Not a producer nation or exporter nation. They're a consumer nation. They're an importer nation, right? So America needs to, China. Like, look, bro. I mean, we can play WWF if you want to. I mean, we can go out here and talk shit to one another on the screen and everything else like that to make each other look like that they powerful or strong or whatever, whatever, whatever. But in reality, we really need one another, man. All right, this is how they use propaganda for their own how do I put it, their own gain against their own population. Like, let's say, for instance, hypothetically, I don't know this for a fact or not, but let's say the whole balloon thing, right? Let's say America sent up their own balloons, because come to find out, I believe one of those balloons was actually sent up from Americans in America as some kind of school or some shit. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, let's just say America did send up all these balloons on their own. They was just talking back, doing backdoor deals with China. Hey, look, man, we gonna on our TV, we gonna blame y'all for this shit and everything else like that. But we ain't gonna really take no. We gonna be talking big, but we really ain't gonna do shit to y'all, right? You know what I'm saying? We just selling over to the crowd. I was listening to a story. I forgot who it was. Uh, who was it? I think it was they had it was an old wrestler. Oh, the Undertaker. They had the Undertaker on one of these little talk shows recently, on one of these podcasts and shit like that. And he was talking about when he was younger and some older guy that was already in the league for a while, you know what I'm saying? They went out there and they got into a fight with, it was a tag team match, and they got into a fight with these other guys, and the Undertaker took a chair and beat the shit out of this other dude and everything else like that. Or the other dude took a chair and beat the shit out of this other guy, and the Undertaker was being a new guy and was all like, damn, man, we get back to the locker room, these guys gonna want to fight us because we just fucked them up in the ring for real, for real. Like, this is supposed to be fake, and you just took some chair and just beat the shit out of this dude, and this wasn't playing, and like, these guys gonna come back here and want to really fight. And, the guys come back to the back and they congratulate the dude that just beat the shit out of him with the chair. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, this is that. And Undertaker was all taken by shock. Like, whoa, what the fuck going on? I'm not finna, because his tag partner was telling him, look, bro, go ahead and get undressed. Put your regular clothes back on. We got to get ready to go to the next show. And the Undertaker was like, bro, I'm not finna go get undressed, for my wrestling attire to put on my civilian clothes. And in the middle of all this, the dudes we just attacked in the ring and just beat the shit out of with these chairs, you know what I'm saying, that wasn't supposed to be scripted or whatever. I don't really know. I'm new in the business, so I don't think this is how it's supposed to go anyway. They finna come back here and actually whoop our ass, and I'm about to be ready. Y'all not gonna whoop my ass while I'm halfway naked, right? So the dudes come back to the dressing room, and they all happy, and they like, oh, thanks to the dude that beat their ass with the chair. Oh, thanks, man, this is that. Because what the Undertaker didn't realize was the guys that got their ass beat was losing popularity in the show. You know what I'm saying? They had to stir up that fire again, get them back talking into the little the conversation. In fact, there's another scenario like this is going on. This is a side note, just to show you how this here shit be working sometime. The nigga Boosie and T.I. apparently is doing some shit together, right? I heard about this on the radio the other day. They was talking about how some kind of way one nigga called another nigga a rat, right? T.I. called Boosie a rat, or Boosie called T.I. a rat. Something happened. No, I think T.I. Whatever, just some bullshit happened. But just know this, right? Now the nigga went on Vlad. Boosie went on Vlad and was calling T.I. and doing some other shit, some crazy shit, right? Well, I don't even know if he actually called him a rat. He was like, well, if he did do these things. So you got to watch the wording and stuff. But when I heard about the story, it was on the radio, and they was talking about the shit. They played the little clips, and they was going, well, I don't know if Boosie said this or if he said that. What about if they can get together and talk? But I was like, who really winning in all of this is Boosie and T.I. Because apparently because in the middle of the story, I'm hearing they got a movie or a TV show or some shit like that together. They got an album together that I guess Boosie said wasn't going to drop. And then they was like, nah, the fans going to want this. The fans going to need this. It's like, when the last time you heard of either one of these rappers like Boosie in the mainstream? Right now, granted, I don't listen to the radio, so I don't really know if they're playing any Boosie songs on the radio or not. But putting my dollar on it, the fact of the matter is they not paying the regular route or going through the regular record deals and all that extra shit, especially at this point in time now, to promote and advertise their record, because I think with a business mind, fuck all the advertisement, how you market your shit, because this to me sounds like a marketing employee to get people to buy the shit. You tell them, hey, look, supply and demand, we ain't putting the album out no more. They're going to go looking for that goddamn album because the album is already made. They're going to go look, once they say, look, we ain't doing a TV show, we canceling all of that and everything else like that. Hey, we ain't got to promote the TV show now. People already heard, oh, damn, they canceling the show. So now all they got to do is actually release the show. And guess what? Everybody going to watch the show. Oh, these two niggas was beefing. One of them called the other one a rap. We got to see what the show is about. We got to see what the album is about. Man, we got to see if this nigga was really about this and really about that. All at the end all be all to say, hey, look, the nigga wasn't ratting or whatever. But guess what? They done sold all the product they wanted to sell to you. So going back to the Chinese balloon scenario, propaganda. Hey, we just want the American population to believe that the Chinese is a problem and everything, and we can show forth that we're being strong by defending the American population from the Chinese, right? Like, but that ain't no real goddamn threat. Hey, this is WWF right about now, so it don't really matter. You see what I'm saying? So hey, but going back into this here article, it says Chinese the China never has the China's foreign minister launched such a blistering attack on the U.S. for many years, despite Washington's turn of hostility towards Beijing. China has been overwhelmingly restrained when it comes to the U.S. Like I said, because they do so much business together. They're like, bro, we not, again, make it long story short. I used to always wonder how the fuck Stone Cold Steve Austin, showing my age, how could this nigga go to work every single week and beat his boss's ass up, do all kind of fuck shit to his boss and everything, and still go to the same man and get a paycheck at the end of the week. And the boss say, good job, buddy. Keep up the good work. I'm going to actually give you a raise. How the fuck you go to work and go beat your boss up and everything? Oh, this ain't real. Oh, this is all scripted. Oh, they found out when he went to his job because, see, people can relate to that. People got jobs. They hate going to their job. They hate their boss. They wish they can go do this. So as men, they can so-called live vicariously through this scenario, watching Stone Cold Steve Austin beat his boss's ass. Oh, okay. You're not really fighting your boss for real, from real? Oh, you just trying to draw tickets? So this is why, China ain't really beefing with them or nothing like that, because it's like, bro, I need you. Vince McMahon ain't gonna go and fire Stone Cold because Stone Cold and whooped his ass. Like, nah, man, Stone Cold is actually bringing value to my business right now. We need this. Yeah, hell yeah. If it's gonna help me out, yeah, no problem. So hey, this is, China ain't really worried about that because they buying all of China's goods and everything else like that. So like, we don't give a fuck if they talk shit. As long as they come over here with the money, we good, right? So it says, for a long time, it has held a belief that America can be engaged with, and somehow the country can be brought to reason, and that the U.S.-China bilateral relationship can be improved and stabilized. We just read all of that. It says the belief could not have been more wrong. After 2 years in office, Biden administration has shown itself to be more belligerent and hawkish on China than Trump and his colleagues have ever been. And ties have gone from one new low to another, with Biden presidency having transformed U.S. policy from a series of America First Trumpian, they probably should have said Trumpism, grievance over the trade to all-encompassing campaign of military strategic containment, which has dramatically escalated tensions. Trump was a negotiator who wanted to make trade deals with China and to suit American interests using tariffs and leverage, whereas the word compromise does not exist with Biden's vocabulary, which, that's some other bullshit they got going on either way. But it says the Biden administration has repeatedly claimed that it wants guardrails and lines of communications with Beijing, but actions have shown that the real intentions, from allowing Nancy Pelosi's highly provocative visit to Taiwan to stoking paranoia over a balloon, to forcing countries to cut off supplies to China's entire semiconductor industry. The conclusion that Beijing has finally arrived at, as when it comes to the United States, is there's no serious dialogue to be had. It's a waste of time. China faces a belligerent, hegemonic, and bad faith actor who seeks to contain it and strategically crush it at all costs, right? And in reality, the war against China would have been a little different war, but now that, China's talking about, somewhat maybe possibly backing Russia in the Ukraine scenario, this is actually raising a real red flag for America, because like I said, America really don't want to smoke with China because of the trade scenario. Let's say America was to nuke China off the face of the earth. Well, America would eventually starve out because they won't be able to get all the products. Like, where are they going to get these products from, man? You could bring all the work back to America, but see, you already paying $1,000 for an iPhone that's being made over in China for like $2. Now you bring that iPhone back over here, and people can't even survive off $20 an hour minimum wage. Now, how much you think that they're going to pay you to make that iPhone over here in America, man? Now, if they can pay you, let's just say bare minimum $20 an hour to make that iPhone, when they're paying $2 a day in China for it, that iPhone would be damn near $20,000 for you to buy it over here, man. All right, so hey, it says let's continue on. It says the U.S. Is forcing a change in China's foreign policy. For decades, China's philosophy was to avoid confrontation with Washington and seek cooperation to prevent America from moving towards policies of Cold War containment and blocking its economic development, which is the Communist Party's overreaching domestic priority. Again, that symbiotic relationship between America and China, right? This is why even when the U.S. was turning hostile, China remained ambivalent and restrained for a long time. It wanted to believe that its relationship with America could be rescued and these policies could be offset. China now recognizes that its best bet is not appeasing Washington, but continued development and prosperity depends on sustaining a multipolar world where America power is diluted. Why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing? All right, trying to set up systems without America because they see America is about to fall. China has formally identified American hegemony as the biggest source of instability, chaos, inequality, and conflict in the world, mirroring comments made by Vladimir Putin. So going back to Isaiah, was a lot of it in Isaiah, but Isaiah 14 and 16, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, right? Isaiah 14 and 16. They that see thee shall nearly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the world, that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms, that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, and that opened not the house of his prisoners? Going up to verse 4, right? It says, verse 6, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and unhindered. So, hey, man, you that was oppressing every damn body, man. All right, putting everybody into subjection, man. All right, you're being called out right about now, man. All right. Uh, all right, it says, as such, the U.S. has no interest in accepting or coming to terms with the rise of any other country which challenges its monopoly on global power, believing its hegemony to be some sort of a divine right and leaving little hope for stability. In reality, they actually right about that, man. They do have the divine right to be ruling in this here planet Earth, man, right here in America, man. All right, whether you want to believe it or not, that's actually the Lord's will. All right, because hey, who is the Lord going to come back and fight? Where, like, what is it? Jeremiah 16 and 16, I do believe it is. How they say that the Lord has, you're not going to be talking about how the Lord would go back to what verse, well, Jeremiah 14, 16 and 14 and 15, I believe it is, where it says that, the Lord brought the children of Israel up out of the land. It's no longer going to be said that the Lord brought the children of Israel up out of the land of Egypt. All right, but the Lord brought the children of Israel up out of the land of the north. All right, so hey, the Lord's going to come and redeem his people from out of the land of the north, man. All right, they're going to wage war against the Lord. They're going to be, headed by these Babylonian Edomites to fight the Lord. So hey, they would have to be in charge at the end all be all, man. Jacob or Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So these people have to be in power at this point in time. All right. It says it will do everything it can to try to contain China and to break up its interrogation with the global economy. While this does not mean Beijing will do something reckless or risk prone, it does mean that it has finally woken up to the challenges it faces and will no longer, after decades of cordial ties, starry-eyed and deluded about the true nature of the American regime. All right. And so, hey, this is pretty much, the Esau being called out, man. All right, this is pretty much it, man. All right, you seeing that these nations are pointing him out and looking at him like, yo, is this the man that's doing all these things, man? Is that him? All right, is that damn devil that's over there, man? All right. Matter of fact, I was over here earlier, but we can go ahead and close out. I just wanted to, let me see. 2 Thessalonians 2. I'm going to read verse 3 and 4. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Right? Habakkuk 2 speak about gathered unto him all nations, right? So that what he can reign over top of them. So think about this, man. Hey, he's sitting in the temple showing himself that he is God, having all these other nations worship him as God, man, having that hegemony over top of all these other nations, man. This is Esau, Edom that the Bible speaks about, man. All right, and he's being called out by these other nations at the same time, man. So hey, man, we can measure the time diligently at the, looking at the point that hey, his kingdom is coming to an end, man. He can no longer hide himself, man. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, the great millstone that taught us this truth and really well. And salutation, much love for you, I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.